In 1 month's time, the people of the most powerful country in Europe will go to the polls. And of course, the German people will use a proportional representation system. As they do in Denmark, allegedly the happiest country in Europe. As they do in Slovenia, allegedly the fairest country in Europe. And these countries are democracies which the Peterloo protesters would recognise as such, because they don't simply have universal suffrage, but they also have equal representation. But here in Britain, we maintain, and especially, of course, here in England, we maintain a system which denies minorities their voice and which prevents new ideas bubbling to the surface. Now, I'm a Liberal Democrat, and I know how the system pours scorn on my party's voters and how it treats followers of the Greens with contempt. It tells socialists, real socialists, to keep their mouths shut. It insists that UKIP has no place in Parliament, whatever vote share it may win. But for too long, our major parties have perpetuated the myth that first past the post produces strong governments with consistent policies. And we know from the election result just 2.5 months ago how wrong that can be. First past the post isn't maintained because it delivers strong government. It's maintained because it perpetuates the interests of the majority in the two largest parties. It's kept because it gives them the prospect, the undemocratic prospect, of one day beating the odds, winning the electoral lottery, and being able to take absolute power despite winning only a minority of votes. You know, it was the injustice of the voting system that persuaded me some 43 years ago to join the Liberal Party. I saw us win nearly 20% of the votes in that election of 74, and yet hardly any seats. Now, these days my party is doing rather poorer in the polls, but the sense of injustice still rankles. We won 7% of the polls just a couple of months ago, and as a Liberal, you'll not be surprised to know that I think my party deserves 7% of the seats. That's about 46, not 12. And as a Democrat, I believe that everyone who voted for other parties should have equal and fair representation. But that ambition will never be achieved unless campaigners in all political groups put aside their political differences and come together to fight for this common cause. I don't want to go on the doorstep and tell people that the only way they can get their least worst option is to vote for a party which is not their first choice. I want to be able to say to them, you do what you like, mate. You do what you like, madam. But I want to stand up and believe positively and proclaim positively for the party and the beliefs to which I am attached. All should be able to do that. I want us to have a voting system that gives us real choice, not a sham democracy. I want us to be able to put new ideas on the table, to argue our causes, to each have the representation we deserve. You know, but one simple belief unites us all here. We think democracy is a good idea, and it's time that Britain gave it a try. So let's come together and promote this cause, and let's help Brexit Britain catch up with the best in Europe. Thank you.